Before I ever thought about history, I thought about stories. Not the ones in textbooks, those stories are clean and distant. I mean the ones told over dinner tables, passed down in the quiet between generations. The ones that explain who we are, why we carry this pride in our bones, and why certain sacrifices are etched not in stone but in memory. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Park, a high school junior in California, and my project, Hidden Heroes, is built on that core memory. It's a search for the unseen hands that have built, nurtured, and preserved the Korea-US alliance, not through grand speeches, but through everyday acts of quiet power. We don't always recognize them because their impact isn't loud, but that doesn't make it small. In fact, I'd argue that the softest contributions are often the most lasting, because they aren't made for attention. They're made out of love. We often think of heroes as people in uniforms, in history books, and on podiums, but what if we looked elsewhere? A Korean War veteran who never made the news but still speaks in a trembling voice at high schools, hoping even one student will remember the price of peace. A grandmother who fled North Korea alone with 8 children and taught them through hunger and heartbreak to be proud of where they came from. A second generation Korean American who organizes a cultural night in the community center just so that the children in the neighborhood might see that their dual identity isn't a contradiction but a bridge. Now, none of these people have medals, but they have built something worth so much more: understanding, continuity, and peace. And that's who I want to honor. And that's who I believe we must remember. And let's not forget the invisible labor of cultural survival, translating documents for elders, making kimchi in a new land because it tastes like home, explaining to a class of peers why Korean isn't just another Asian language. These moments, they shape our identity. And in shaping identity, they fortify the alliance in ways politics never could. So to honor them, I created the hashtag #MyHeroCampaign. Campaign. It's not just a social media trend, it's an archive of human connection. And so today, I ask you, who taught you to be proud of your heritage? Who shaped your Korea, not in theory, but in the raw, lived sense? Anyone can nominate a hero. All we need is a photo, a short story, and a moment of truth. Each week, we highlight these stories on Instagram and our campaign website, not just to show others, but to document for the future what it meant to be a peacemaker in the shadows. And by using a bilingual submission form in both Korean and English, we're not only being inclusive, we're respecting the linguistic bridge that so many hidden heroes have had to cross. Now, some heroes won't be able to tell their own stories in English, but they still deserve to be heard. And this campaign makes space for exactly that. Now, this isn't just a launch. It's a slow, deliberate unfolding of something that's meant to last for ages. In the first 2 weeks, I begin with outreach, not advertising, but conversation. I seek to contact Korean churches, local community centers, and schools asking, who shaped you? And who have we forgotten? Then, as the stories start to roll in, we begin spotlighting them one at a time. Not viral, but vital. Now, midway through, I invest in social media growth, not for vanity, but so the children of these heroes and their children might see their names illuminated on a screen instead of fading away in silence. Finally, we have the recognition, a digital and physical hero wall where names that once went unspoken stand side by side. And we'll make sure that the physical wall doesn't just go in high traffic places, it will go in meaningful ones. Maybe in the entry hall of a community Korean center or the back hallway of a school where a teacher once gave free Korean lessons, places where legacy meets life. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with the Korea-US alliance? Everything. Because alliances aren't just built in boardrooms, they're built at kitchen tables, across languages, and across oceans. And the willingness of a mother to tell her story or a child to ask questions. This campaign connects generations. It reminds the Korean youth in America of their roots, not in shame or nostalgia, but in pride. It preserves culture, it honors memory, and most of all, it keeps this alliance alive, not just in documents, but in people. This project doesn't just ask who we admire, it asks who we owe. And if we're honest, we owe far more people than we've ever thanked. So we don't need more monuments, we need more memory. And this project is memory in motion. So with $500, I'm not trying to build a monument, but I'm truly here trying to build a movement. So the first $100 will be going towards website hosting. So the stories that we collect, they don't just simply disappear into a feed, but live in an archive we can actually visit, revisit, and pass down. The second $100 will be allocated towards graphic design because when we want to present someone's legacy, it should feel worthy of every frame, even if it's digital. Now, every post, every story, and every template is truly a canvas of honor. The next $100 will support tools like Canva Pro and Adobe, so we're not just sharing this content, but we're also shaping it with care, consistency, and cultural respect. The next $100 will fuel social media ads, not just to chase being viral, but to reach the grandchild who's never heard their family's story or the veteran wondering if anyone remembers theirs. And the final $100 will cover campaign management, from curating submissions to community outreach, because behind every post is a conversation, a question, and a trust earned. Now, this isn't just about spending, it's stewardship. Every single dollar serves a story. Every cent brings a hidden hero into the light. Now, in the end, this isn't just about getting followers or clicks. It's about the boy who never knew his grandfather was a translator for American soldiers until he saw his face online. It's about the woman who reads a story of a refugee mother and realizes it's not just her story, it's ours. It's about ensuring that when we say Korea US alliance, we don't only mean treaties, we mean people, lives, and souls. Your hero, whoever they are, deserves to be seen, not because they need recognition, but because we need remembrance. Because memory in the hands of the young becomes responsibility, and responsibility shared across generations becomes peace. So, to everyone today at the US Korea Alliance Foundation, to the sponsors and the judges sitting here today, thank you. Thank you for not just preserving policy, but for protecting the people and stories that give that policy meaning. And if I've done one thing here today, I hope it's this: that somewhere out there, a name you remember or a story you've held on to quietly, maybe even someone sitting next to you right now, a hidden hero finally feels seen. Because the next chapter of this alliance won't be written by history books. It'll be written by us. 그리고 그 이야기는 우리가 끝까지 기억할 것입니다. And that story, we will remember it to the very end. Thank you so much.